Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to yet another Football Stooges episode. We have a very important week this week to give you coverage on. We have both the XFL wrapping up, the USFL just starting, and the draft is literally just next week. So we got to get to the chases. And only 4 Stooges in today. Mom decided to go to Coachella and told no one. So the video is going to be a little bit later out as he is our poster. So sorry about that, but we'll get them sent to you at the very least. Better late than never, I guess, as we should always now be saying from here on. But at the same time, we're still giving you episodes. And as always, the man who has never missed an episode, the one and only Mastodon.
Jalen Hurts is getting paid.
Paid a lot of money. How much was that in total again?
255 mil. But when I was looking at before, Joe Burrow has to be paid soon. Justin Herbert has to be paid soon. So basically, he's not going to be.
I really hope Joe Burrow doesn't get that much money. Not that he doesn't deserve it, because he does. He's an amazing quarterback, the best quarterback the Bengals have probably had since Boomer Esiason. And even, honestly, on paper, looking better than Boomer already. Broken Bengals records left and right center. So, yeah, quarterbacks are going to get paid, especially the ones that haven't been paid yet. And as a Bengals fan, that scares me because that means we won't have a good cast to support Joe Burrow. But again, it's Joe Burrow. So, but also I found out a terrible thing. Good news. Gold Star Chili is no longer the official sponsor of the Bengals. Skyline Chili is, which is the correct chili. Gold Star is a ripoff. Gold Star's horrible. Gold Star's awful. If you like Gold Star, go sit on a spinning cactus covered in hot sauce. All right. But Skyline Chili is amazing. And then they were doing an interview with Joe Burrow that same day when Skyline got announced as the official sponsor of the Bengals, and he said he doesn't like it. And that kind of hurt a little bit. It kind of hurt just a little bit. I love Skyline. Thankfully I'm in a city in Indiana that actually has a Skyline. If not, I think I would die. I have to have it every once in a while, or else the Cincinnati kid in me might just die. But, it is what it is. Anyway, next up, part of the sleeveless crew today, pounding what seems to be a Miller Lite, the one and only Gorlami. And, oh, wow, he's just going to... Okay. And welcome to the Gun Show.
That Miller Lite's not real beer.
That brute, farm-fed, cheese curd-filled Wisconsin strength. Am I right?
It's only good for lifting the beer bottle up and down, though.
So how's that Rodgers trade going?
I don't think it's going anywhere.
Oh, so much is riding on that. I wonder if that's going to be a draft night trade.
It got this way, and then it got that way, and then it come right back to middle, and then...
Well, the Packers officially named Jordan Love their starter, so they are moving on from Rodgers, whether or not he is on the roster or not. So, speaking of on the roster for this week, the one and only K-Duff.
$255 million for Jalen Hurts. See that, Browns? That's what that performance last year. That's when you actually pay a quarterback that much money.
Well, he's not wrong.
I mean, let's be fair. Massage parlors are getting expensive. All right, that's a big ask, And it's probably he's probably gonna play for for plane tickets, because I don't know if there's really many good massage parlors in Cleveland. So that's what it is.
Going back to that contract,
he's got to commute.
Going back to that contract, by the way, Masson, I didn't know if you knew this. That's apparently the first ever no trade clause that the Eagles have ever given.
In Eagles history. Yep, Eagles history. First ever no trade clause. Yep.
You didn't put that on Reggie White. You didn't put that on Randall Cunningham. You didn't put that on Donovan McNabb, Terrell Owens.
Because they were free.
McNabb, I know, has a love-hate
relationship by the time. But I mean, they were free agents when they were gone.
I mean, fair. No trade clauses are a little bit more common in some other sports than basketball. Or, I mean, football, basketball, more common. Basketball, baseball.
Hockey does it a lot.
Yeah.
NHL. Hey, how about them Flyers?
Oh, no. I already said the season was fucked no matter what. I'm just pissed that Jersey's losing. I'm just pissed that Jersey lost again.
This is a great time in sports. You have the NHL playoffs starting, the NBA playoffs starting. Now we even have football league still continuing. This is one of the few weeks there will be overlap between the two minor football leagues in America. And then if
You got
you like,
MLB going.
if you like sleeping and watching golf for old
Hey,
people,
the Brewers are going on a run right now. It's pretty impressive.
and the Oakland A's are leaving.
Yeah,
They're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
The Vegas Aces. I think they should change to Aces. Keep the A, but make it Aces. Honestly.
Well, I mean, the WNBA team in Vegas is already called the Aces, so they might keep athletics. It's not going to sound cool, but it could change it. I have no idea what you just said there.
I have no idea either. Plus, also, they were the Athletics when they were in Philly before, back in like the 20s to the 40s, I think it was.
Oh yeah, I forgot they weren't originally in Oakland.
Yeah.
I guess there is a team that's called the Aces already, but still, I don't know.
Anybody been keeping up with the NASCAR Cup Series?
All right,
No.
and with that, we're moving on to football. The Arizona Cardinals got new jerseys. Yeah, not a fan. For those in the non,
I think I need to drink the pain away.
Yeah, for those in the non visual median area of this podcast, these are single color jerseys. So they have a all white, a all red, and an all black jersey. Sounds pretty good. Like one of the most popular jerseys last season was the Bengals all white with a white tiger helmet. That was pretty cool. But these are single color. There are barely any stripes on the thighs, if what I can see. The only decal that they have is on the shoulders, and it's only on the exact 90 degrees of the shoulders. That is 3 lines. The top 2 are off-colored on the black and the white jerseys, and the middle is gray. It says Cardinals.
Did the
red jersey
just not want to shell out for a second color on the jerseys this year or something?
I don't know, man. There's just a lack of accent. It's all one color. It looks very practice jersey like pennies you would get in gym.
Looks like fucking high school jerseys.
Yeah, they're very single color, big, bright, flashy.
I just can't get over the fucking face of 25 right now.
I think the buddy of my buddy wore the black one.
There are a lot of things I could say.
High school team won the championship.
I feel like we get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jersey look nice.
Yeah. I don't think these jerseys are it. The helmet stayed the same. It's a white helmet with the red cardinal. I think, did Arizona have a secondary helmet? Because I know teams are allowed one secondary helmet.
I always remember them having a white helmet. So
yeah. I feel like the black jersey might look cool with an all black helmet and a white and the normal the normal cardinal on the side. But
Arizona Cardinals, known for their Raven mascot.
Yeah, no, but I think an all black uniform with a black helmet could look cool, and the all white uniform might look nice with a white helmet. But there's just a lack of accented color and extra pizzazz. It looks like it's just a base layer for a uniform, and it hasn't been touched up and edited a bit more to make it actually pop.
Yeah, that secondary accent. That's what makes jerseys pop. That's what everyone likes about other teams' jerseys, like the Rams or the Ravens or the Seahawks. But this is just
what the Seahawks did with that weird gray pattern with the bright neon green outline down the sides and down the leg of their navy blue jerseys is amazing, and that's what makes the uniform. But these are just just bland blah.
Here's a can of paint.
Yeah. Sherman Williams was in charge of making these jerseys. They just poured a can of paint on them and said, fuck it, we're done.
It's like one of those 3-cent CSGO skins.
It does, actually.
3-cent CSGO
you get for 200 bright dust.
There's 3-cent CSGO skins.
Yeah. In brighter news, Damar Hamlin has been officially cleared to play in the upcoming season, which is great. Glad to see him back on the field, and now that there has been ample amount of time for teams or the team doctors to clear him and make sure he's ready to go, which is great. That'd be a great scene when his first game back. I hope Buffalo's first game is a home game. That'd be a great thing for him to come back, home opener, have him back out on the field. And then the only other thing we'll talk about is a trade went down. The Pittsburgh Steelers got another weapon for Tiny Trump Hands Kenny Pickett. Let's go ahead and have KDF take that away on who the trade was for.
Yep, that would be wide receiver Allen Robinson. He is going to Pittsburgh for in an exchange of 7th-round picks, and also apparently they're going to be splitting the rest of the $15 million his current contract owes him. The Rams are going to pay off 10.25, and the Steelers are going to pick up the remaining 5.
Good deal for the Steelers. They trade back in the draft. They get a pretty good wide receiver that just honestly was not targeted in the slightest last season. So
no, they were.
His name wasn't Cooper Kupp. He wasn't going to get the ball.
Yeah. The amount of jokes I've seen either in good taste or in bad taste about Matthew Stafford not wanting to pass to Allen Robinson for a variety of reasons were pretty funny.
Yeah, I was about to say not wanting to pass, always wanting to pass to the white guy. Oh my god.
It's like that one Tom Brady meme. Oh, Tom Brady, I'm wide open. Oh, let me pass to Wes Welker in triple coverage. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead.
Still somehow caught it
and got concussed multiple times. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the XFL. This is week 9 of 10, so this is the second to last week that we just went through, and we are now approaching the final week of competition, and it's going to come down to the wire for some teams. We will start off with Vegas and Houston, a lot closer than we would have thought, but at the same time, the Vegas Vipers still couldn't get it done. Houston coming out on top, 21-28, the final score. Houston advancing to 6-3, Vipers falling to 2-7. Not a great day to be a Vipers fan, Gorlami.
Shut the fuck up.
Jalen McClendon for the Vipers went 27 for 37 for 249, 6.7 yard average for passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 4 sacks. Then he also ran 41 yards, 5 carries, and his longest was 14 yards. He was their second leading rusher. Their leading rusher was John Levitt, 9 carries, 46 yards, and 1 touchdown. Other rushers were Rod Smith, Brian Burt, and Jeff Bidet, all not rushing over 5 yards. Receiving, John Levitt, 4 for 63. Geronimo Allison, 6 for 30. Jeff Bidet, 4 for 43. Matthew Sexton, 3 for 29. Sinkway Sweetening, 4 for 22 and 1 touchdown. Cam Sutton, 2 for 11. Brandon Dillon, 1 for 9. Matavius Bryant, 2 for 8. And Sean Price, 1 for 4 and a touchdown.
How did we bring up Matavius Bryant on 420 of all the days?
Yeah. And then 2 fumbles were lost, one by Jalen McClendon, the starting quarterback, and one by Matavius Bryant. Their defense, it was able to force 2 turnovers and 1 fumble, but gave no sacks to the other team. Well, caused no sacks to the other team. So a so-so day for their defense, but at the end they were able to hold Roughnecks to 28 points, which is decent, but again, their offense could not get it done.
And only trailed by 7.
It also scored 21 against the Roughnecks. That's interesting.
Very true. Yeah. The Roughnecks could have been kind of easing up. Again, they're pretty much a lock for the playoffs in the 1 or the 2 seed. So they could drop this game if they wanted to, but they didn't. So I don't know if we know if they were going 100%. By the end of the day, they got the win. So good on them.
Regardless, even this late in the season, you don't want to be like the dominant team losing to basically the scrub of your division. So
yeah.
Or the league, for that matter.
Well,
hey,
no.
They're not the
Orlando.
Guardians.
Yeah, they're not the Guardians. They're not the Guardians.
I'm not saying they are, just for example.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Roughnecks. Brandon Silver's pass, 16 for 27 for 105, a 3.9 average, no picks, or no touchdowns, 2 picks, and no sacks. Max
They fucking lost to that.
Yeah, that's not an impressive stat line. 16 for 27 for 105, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Yeah.
And he gone.
Rushing, Max Borghi, 10
has left the building.
10 for 74 and 1 touchdown. Bryson Line, 12 for 42 and 1 touchdown. Cole McDonald, 2 for 9. Brandon Silvers, 1 for 6. And Jeremy Cox, 1 for 1.
I feel like they're just preparing me for the NFL season.
Justin Smith, 2 for 26.
Ready.
Garrett Owens, 4 for 23. Travel Harris, 3 for 18. Bryson Line, 2 for 16. Cedric Burr, 2 for 13. Deontay Burnett, 1 for 4. Max Borghi, 2 for 4. And Ben Putman, 0 for 1. Catches to targets. They had 1 fumble lost by Cedric Bird, and their defense was able to force 2 turnovers on the ground, no picks, and cause 4 sacks. Not a great day from the Roughnecks, especially in the quarterback room. 16 for 27 for 105 and 2 picks is not great, and also threw no touchdowns, but they were able to run the ball in when it mattered, getting 2 touchdowns on the ground. And then if we look at this very great double red graph,
Hey, one's darker than the other.
2 defensive touchdowns for the Houston Roughnecks. Both of those fumbles were returned for touchdowns. So at the end of the day, the Houston Roughnecks defense was what really willed them to this victory and gave them the 7-point win. Thoughts on this game and the effect it'll have later in the season, or I guess in the playoffs, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, you could be right that they were just resting a good chunk of their better players against a team like Vegas. So I'd say it's if that's the case, then that's a smart move by Houston to do that. Also, a good win for them regarding even with the poor performance from Silvers this week.
Yeah, but that's their starting QB, and he did that bad the whole game.
I mean, get your bad games out of the way.
Exactly.
Get that bad game
Which
out
is
of
what
you.
the Bruins should have done, but I guess 6
Vipers have
points
had
against
7
the Panthers.
bad games so far.
The Bruins have time, like debt, to pay to Father Time. So they're going to pay it at some point.
President's Trophy curse is a thing.
We are breaking that curse. We are reversing
No,
that
you're
curse.
not.
I am reversing that curse.
No, you're not. Don't you lie.
I am not smoking any copium. We are
not smoking the copium. Next
I don't
up,
know. Brad Marchand will be smoking that copium.
So, Brahmas and Guardians.
Yeah. Lo and behold, the Guardians lost. They dropped a game to the San Antonio Brahmas, now falling to 1-8 on the season. They lose the game 23-25. San Antonio improves to 3-6. Let's take a look at the stats first for the Guardians. They had 3 quarterbacks.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and none of them did that well. Quentin Dormandy, DeAndre Francois, and Mac Brown all came in the game. Dormandy, 9 for 17, 47 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 3 sacks. DeAndre Francois, 3 for 5 for 20 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, no sacks. And Mac Brown, 1 for 1 for 69 yards, no picks, no touchdowns, no sacks.
3 quarterbacks.
I like the rushing here, though.
Yeah. The rushing, Devin Darrington, 16 carries, 133 yards, and 1 touchdown. Quentin Dormandy, 4 for 10. DeAndre Francois, 2 for 7. And Dedrick Thomas, 1 for 4. For receiving, Katie Cannon, 1 for 69. Ryan Becker, 2 for 17. Nice. Charleston Rambo, great name, 2 for 16.
Why, Marbo?
Eli Rogers, 2 for 9. Logan Carter, 1 for 8. Andrew Jamil, 2 for 7. Dedrick Thomas, 1 for 5. Jordan Thomas, 1 for 4. Devin Darrington, 1 for 1. And Jalen Smith, 0 for 2 receptions to targets. Let's see here. No fumbles, and their defense caused only 1 fumble and 1 sack. So a classic Guardians performance. Their quarterbacks are non-existent. Their defense is horrible, and their rushing attack is actually good.
Oh my God, Jack Cohen actually did good.
Jack Cohen turning back the clock to his Wisconsin/Notre Dame playing days. He went 25 for 31 for the Brahmas for 302 yards, a 9.7 average, and 1 touchdown. No picks and only 1 sack for -9 yards. He also ran the ball 2 times for 6 yards. The other rushes were Jacques Patrick, 20 for 80 for 1 touchdown, and John Hillman, 3 for 10. For receiving, Nick Holly, 4 for 105. Jacques Patrick, 5 for 50. John Hillman, 6 for 47. Travis Tovonen, 2 for 42 and 1 touchdown. Alzi Mack, 3 for 19. Landon Akers, 3 for 17. TJ Vanisher, 1 for 17. And Fred Brown, 1 for 5. Also, Dion Yelder, 0 for 1 on receptions to targets. 1 fumble was lost by Jacques Patrick. And then their defense ended up causing only 1 turnover via interception and 3 sacks for -26 yards. They did score a defensive touchdown. Drew Beasley had an interception return for 20 yards for the touchdown that helped them get the edge in the game here.
What does that say in relation to Cole Beasley?
I was literally going to ask that.
Beasley's a common name. Drew Beasley. Is Cole Beasley BEA or is it BEE? Because
it is BEA.
Oh, it's EA. It's EA. Cole Beasley is BA. I know that for sure.
Yeah, Beasley is BEA, not BEE. This is Drew like Busby Beasley.
Also, I looked up the wrong Drew Beasley. It's giving me an actor who was on Law and Order.
That's not good.
All right, I do have an honest question. What the fuck is with the XFL? Like, it seems like every fucking week you do not see good rushing stats.
It's just like modern football, man. You watch football like at any level where the talent is decent enough that they can throw the ball. Teams will throw the ball more than they pass the ball.
Yeah,
you go to Texas and you watch Texas high school football, they will pass the ball more than they run. because it's just the way football is nowadays. Like the NBA, you don't see many centers in the NBA post up and score with their back to the basket like a Tim Duncan or a Hakeem Olajuwon or a Kevin McHale. You see more shooters like a Steph Curry or a Kevin Durant or, whatever. It's the game changes.
Yeah, but even in the NFL, you see a lot better stats for.
Well, also you see a lot more passing in the NFL too. Like they've been a pass.
No, I mean some of the best games for the Bengals and Bills, they didn't even have 100 yards rushing in total.
Not even just the Bills, but
I see a lot of like max rushing yards like throughout these, like being 40
Kansas
yards
City
for the best
Chiefs,
guy.
If you look back at some of the Kansas City Chiefs games, I bet you they didn't have insane rushing performances.
They didn't. Yeah, no, the rushing is not the same for Kansas City. Part of it, I think, also with the NFL, with the stoppage of time for every incompletion and some other stuff that, not like the XFL, you can't have as many plays in the XFL. Because remember, the clock runs continuously until, 5 minutes left in the half. That's when they actually stop time for incompletions and out of bounds.
Yep. So the games are a lot quicker, too. So you can't get in as many running plays. At the same time, if we go down, to the Guardians. We look at
133 yards.
Yeah, 133 yards of rushing for Devin.
But how often have we seen carries? How often have we seen that though?
From the Guardians, they've had big rushing performances from Devin Darrington quite often. So
yeah,
I've really only seen over 100 yards rushing from one person twice.
Yeah, at least one of them was one was for the defenders. Abram Smith had that monster game where he ran for nearly 200.
Well, I mean, if you think about the NFL, when you see Derrick Henry run for 100 yards, it's usually upwards of 20 carries. Even more, maybe even 30. Derrick Henry is not averaging 5 yards a carry because 20 times 5 is 100. So if he was averaging 5 yards a carry, we'd all be losing our fucking minds. But he's not averaging 5 yards a carry. He's averaging 3 and a quarter. So he's running about 30 overtimes a game, 30 carries a game, which is an insane workload. But he's getting 100 yards because he's running the ball that many times. And if Derrick Henry falls forward, he gains 4 yards. So, that's the thing. There's more carries. So it's a higher percentage. I would guarantee if you look at the average yards per rush, this 8.3 right here from Devin Darrington is pretty damn impressive.
It is.
Yeah. And that is nearly a first down every play. That's 8.3. It's over half of a first down every play.
I think part of it, too, is probably some talent. O-line's not as good as the NFL, or most NFL teams, should I say.
Or these running backs might not be able to read their cuts.
There's that, too.
There's definitely a skill discrepancy. Again, these are still professional players. They're still better than any of us will ever be, ever.
Oh,
but at the same time, there is a skill discrepancy between a all-pro, offensive lineman.
Derrick Henry,
Derrick Henry and Devin Darrington. There's a pretty big skill gap.
Yeah.
Actually, when I played fullback, I didn't cut. I was given the ball, I put 2 hands on it, and I just tucked my head.
Yeah, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
I would get it on a 3rd and 2. I'd get it a 3rd and 2 or a 2nd and 2. That was my job. Just get the first down.
So I feel like your entire career was like Waterboy. Just fucking...
So you're saying you're a 3rd down back in your high school.
It's really funny. Because in high school, I played in the All-Star game, the Wisconsin All-Star game. And they switched me from fullback to wide receiver due to my receiving stats. Little did they know that all of my receiving stats came from screens. I still had receptions. I had receptions running wide receiver routes, and I was 190 pounds.
So you're basically the DK Metcalf of Wisconsin high schools.
No.
Probably.
I kept getting held by the corner, and I tried to do a swim move on him, and I caught my hand in his face mask and whipped him to the ground, and there was no flag. Ref standing right there. The guy tried to bite me afterwards. I was like, "Ooh."
Right, welcome to football All-Star games.
Somewhere Sean Payton's getting mad and he doesn't know why.
I still have my jersey.
Still has the jersey. Back in my day, I was a fullback for Madison High School.
What was this back in his day? Was maybe 3 years ago.
What is this?
Oh, it's fucking blurring out. Hold it closer to your chest. It's blurring out. There it is. You can, if you stand up a little, it'll show it a little better too.
It's
North
giving me like
All-Star number 4. Look at that.
It's giving me like
Uh-oh.
2006 Broncos vibes, that color scheme.
Nice.
I even have my last name on it.
Orlami Keeble, everybody.
Alrighty. Let's look at the third out of the 4 games. A close one, 2-point game. Arlington falls to DC 26-28. Arlington now 4-5 in the season. DC 8-1. Still only their one loss coming to the Guardians.
All right. If DC would have lost this, it was not an Arlington win. It was a DC loss. They were choking this. Yeah,
it was a
they
pretty
were.
big collapse. I mean, 17 points in the fourth quarter. Like, what was our defense doing?
I was working out in the gym, and the TV had that game on. I was like, "Holy shit, DC! What the fuck are you doing with the holds, defensive passing interference?" It's like, Jesus Christ!
Out of all the games I saw this week, I only caught like the last two quarters of this one, and the whole time, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? We're gonna give up this win. Luckily, we didn't. But like, what the fuck?
Game did go to overtime, where the shootout style was used, and DC did come away with the 0-2 point differential in overtime, giving them a 2-point win. A very impressive day, though, from the Renegades passing department. Luis Perez, 31 for 41 for 335, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and 2 sacks. Rushing, Devon Smith, 12 for 43 and 2 touchdowns. Letty Brown, 8 for 31. Kelly Bryant, 1 for 24. Luis Perez, 3 for 15. And Raynell Hall, 1 for 0. For receiving, Saul Canella, 7 for 92. Letty Brown, 6 for 69. Tyler Vaughn, 6 for 63. Caleb Vander Esch, 2 for 28. Javon Payton, 2 for 23. Lijuan Winningham, 2 for 22. Nate Becker, 2 for 22. Renell Hall, 2 for 19. Sean Bayer, 1 for nothing. And Brandon Acronado, 1 for -3. No fumbles, and their defense was able to force 2 interceptions, able to force a fumble but not recover it, and they did not sack the quarterback once. So their defense did kind of not really do too much. Definitely an issue with the Renegades all season. The defenders, Jordan Tiamu, 14 for 20, 188, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And Derek King came in, went 6 for 9. Nice. 76 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
And no sacks.
And no sacks. Yeah, no sacks on either side. So a great day up front for the defenders. Abram Smith, 10 for 27 on the line. Jordan Tamau, or I can't ever Te'amu. I can never say his name right. I don't know why. 2 for 14 on the ground. Derek King, 3 for 9 on the ground, and Raquel Armstead, 4 for 1. And Puka Williams, rare Puka sighting. Everyone, 1 for -1.
You making a D&D reference right now?
No. Josh Hammond, 4 for 74 and 1 touchdown on the air. Brandon Smith, 2 for 57. Chris Blair, 2 for 32. Abram Smith, 3 for 29. Brilly Moore McKinney, 3 for 26. Lucky Jackson, 2 for 20 and 2 touchdowns.
Very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. Ethan Wolf, 1 for 16. Raquel Armstead, 1 for 8. And Jordan Tamau actually got a pass, 1 for 2. Only fumble was by Abram Smith and was not lost. It was actually recovered by him. So good job on him to make up for his mistake. The defenders were only able to actually get 1 turnover via an interception, which was returned for a touchdown by DJ Swearinger for 62 yards. And they forced 2 sacks for -14 yards. Those 2 sacks coming from Kendrell Bryce, Karan Reed, and then where's the other one? 5.
Andre Mincy.
Yeah, Andre Mincy.
It's half sacks.
Yeah, they're half sacks. Half sacks. Okay.
I never understand half sacks, but whatever.
So yeah, DC did not look great. Jordan, the quarterback, the duo of Jordan and Derek didn't exactly impress this game, but at the same time, they were able to get the job done in overtime, and they got the win, which is all that matters, but it was not pretty against a Renegades team that is probably like the most average team in the XFL. They're not bad, they're not good, they're just middle of the pack.
Yeah, not a good place to be if you're in the NFL, but, I mean, they're still sort of in contention, so, I mean...
Dude, it's Arlington and San Antonio fighting for the second spot.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's
probably going to be Arlington because San Antonio, I don't think is going to be able to make it now with Arlington winning.
Rip.
Oh no, Ed, I'm looking at the current standings. Because
and I mean, you did come away with this win over the Battlehawks, so there's a chance.
Yes, Ben DiNucci.
This was
Ben
a big
coming away with a big win.
Big win for Seattle. Not only do they beat the St. Louis Battlehawks, their division rival, and even up the series at 1 game apiece, they also tied the Battlehawks for overall record 6-3 for both teams after this game, and they did it in St. Louis, which is probably the hardest place to play, maybe DC, because St. Louis tends to sell out these games very well, as St. Louis is vying for another team to come back to their city for a 100 millionth time. I don't know how many times St. Louis is at an NFL team, but at the end of the day, Seattle Sea Dragons get the win, 30-12. They top the St. Louis Battlehawks pretty well in this game. Did a great job in all regards. AJ McCarron was back for this game. He went 18 for 32 in the air for 186, 1 touchdown, but threw 2 picks and had 4 sacks. Not a great game, but also coming back from an injury could have hampered him a little. Rushing, Gary Jennings 4 for 35, Brian Hill 5 for 11, Stephen Mitchell 1 for 4, Kareem Walker 1 for 3, and AJ McCarron 1 for 1. For receiving, Marcel Aitman 7 for 99, Darius Shepard 6 for 60 and 1 touchdown, Austin Prohl 2 for 13, Gary Jennings 2 for 13 as well. Kareem Walker 1 for 1, and then everyone else had no receptions on 1 to 2 targets. Brian Hill, Stephen Mitchell, Jake Sutherland, and Hakeem Butler. No fumbles were lost, and the Battlehawks defense turned the ball over. What am I saying? Got an interception once, and ran it back for 10 yards, not for a touchdown, and forced 2 sacks. For the Sea Dragons, Ben DiNucci had a masterclass game. 21 for 31 for 260, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 2 sacks. He also ran for 38 yards and a touchdown on 7 carries. Next leading rusher was TJ Hammond, 7 for 59 and 1 touchdown. Philip Lindsay, 10 for 17, and Charlie Tameopo, Charlie, 2 for 9.
I think we said Tampa last week.
See you trying to read it, so hilarious.
Yeah.
Shit.
Ja'Cour Pearson, 7 for 115 and 1 touchdown. Josh Gordon, yes, that Josh Gordon, 2 for 46
Happy 420,
on 4
Josh.
targets. Yeah, happy 420, Josh Gordon. Juwan Green, 2 for 30. Kelvin McKnight, 1 for 18. Charlie, 1 for 17. Blake Jackson, 2 for 15.
Not even trying anymore.
Not even going to try, not even going to attempt. Jordan Vasey, 2 for 9 for 1 touchdown. Dame Willis, 1 for 5. TJ Hammonds, 2 for 3. And Philip Lindsay, 1 for 2. They lost no fumbles, and their defense forced 2 interceptions and 4 sacks for negative 15 yards. They had the 2 interceptions they did have, both of which were not returned for a touchdown. A great game on both sides of the ball for Seattle. They really forced AJ McCarron to make some bad decisions, causing him to throw 2 picks, but also at the same time, a lot of this, as people have said, could be AJ McCarron coming back from that injury, which could really hamper with his game. Again, we won't know per se, because this is the last time these 2 teams will face this season, and only one of these 2 teams is making it into the tournament in 2 weeks. Gonna be interesting. Going to be very interesting. Let's take a look at
Place your bets,
the
ladies and
standings.
gentlemen. Place your bets.
So an X and a Z. X means they've clinched the division championship, or an X or a Y means they just clinched their division, and they also clinched home field if they have a Z. So the easier to determine is the South. The Houston Roughnecks have clinched first place in the South. They are 6-3, and whoever is going to be the number 2 seed playing them is between Arlington and San Antonio. If Arlington loses, they fall to 4-6, and if San Antonio wins, they move to 4-6. So then it will come down to their individual standing against each other, which I'm not sure who has the advantage between Arlington and San Antonio. I would guess Arlington, but I don't know. So basically, for Arlington, it's a win and you're in, which is a big thing for them. For San Antonio, you got to win and a couple other things got to happen. If we go up to the north, it's even hairier. The DC Defenders have clinched home field. They are 8-1. The worst they could be is 8-2. Vipers have been eliminated. They are a measly 2-7. Are probably going to be 2-8 by the end of the season.
Nah, they're making a comeback, Doug.
Also, with San Antonio Arlington, they're split.
They're split. So if they're split, then it comes down to best win percentage division games, strength of victory in all games, combined record of opponents and wins. I'm not going to calculate that.
So if San Antonio wins and Arlington loses, San Antonio goes to the playoffs because they're not eliminated yet. This is the last game of the season.
So Renegades have to lose and Brahmas have to win for San Antonio to get in.
Yep.
I believe it's also the same here. If St. Louis loses and Seattle wins, Seattle's in. However, if St. Louis wins, then they're in. Doesn't matter if Seattle does anything. So Seattle fans are hoping for a St. Louis loss and a Seattle win. So there's a lot of things riding on what's happening in the future, and this means whether or not we're going to see Ben DiNucci or AJ McCarron in the playoffs. So a lot is riding on this next week, which we will.
NFL player quarterback will make. I can't fucking talk. Which NFL quarterback will make it into the playoffs this year? Let's find out.
All right, so
Louis playing.
God, Orlando, no.
We all know who's picking.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady, come back for one game in Orlando, please. It's not that far from Tampa.
No.
It's not that far. Julio and Tom, one game, please.
Julio
I know
Jones.
Randy Moss is out there. Please bring him back. Oh, God. Let's go ahead and start our predictions for Week 10. The 4 games we have for this final week. It's going to be a good one. We have Saturday, April 22nd in St. Louis, Missouri. We have Orlando coming into town to face St. Louis. Again, St. Louis wins. They're in the playoff. Next, Saturday, April 22nd at 3 p.m., DC goes to San Antonio in a kind of game. If DC loses, they don't care. If San Antonio wins, they have a chance, but it all rides on Arlington, which is the next game. Sunday, April 23rd at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Houston plays Arlington in Arlington. And then finally, Sunday, April 23rd at 7 p.m., we have Vegas at Seattle. This will be a great game if St. Louis somehow loses, because this will determine whether or not Seattle gets in. They will have to beat Vegas to get in, but at this point, Vegas has no chance of getting anywhere, so this might be a done deal for them anyway. Let's go ahead and start taking some predictions. We'll start with Orlando and St. Louis. I'm going to start this off by saying Seattle's my team. Seattle wants to get in, and I need Orlando to get in, so I'm going to call Orlando by a 2-point victory in overtime.
Well, Mama's not here, so we're going to skip him. St. Louis by 7.
Gorlami.
You know what? I have an itch. I have a feeling. Deep in my bones that
that's just your arthritis.
The that too, but the Orlando Guardians have a little bit of that Dan Campbell blood in them. The philosophy if we can't go, they can't go. I'm gonna take Orlando by 3.
Imagine Dan Campbell's actually on the sideline coaching them that game.
I don't care if you got 3 toes, I will kick your ass.
Just like the wad of fucking chew in his. I don't care what's going on here. We're gonna fucking. Yeah.
I'm hungry for Orlando kneecaps. No, wait, that's shit.
You did it wrong, motherfucker. Predict something.
Yeah. We gonna fuck some Battlecocks today, boys.
Battlehawks by 6. They still have something to play for, so they're gonna bring their A game to this.
Battlehawks by 6. All right, next up, DC at San Antonio. This is kind of a tough one to predict because DC, on the one hand, clinched home field. They are not going to care about this game. It doesn't matter to them necessarily. They're not at home. They're in San Antonio. They don't want to get their players hurt unless their coaching staff is descendant from the Chargers. So, I mean... In my opinion, San Antonio wants to win this game because they have a chance to make it in. DC's already in. Their ticket's already mailed. Their Polar Express ticket has been hole punched a ton. Like, they're set. They're golden. They're in the front row. They're good to go. So I'm taking San Antonio by 3 in this one. I think DC's going to play their backups. And if I know anything about XFL backups, John Paxton, they're not going to be great. Or Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch, that's the same. John Paxton was a point guard for Jordan's Bulls in the 90s. Never mind. Yeah, Paxton Lynch.
Yeah. Calling Paxton Lynch a backup is a disgrace to backups.
Oh, man.
I'll say DC by
at
3
least a
to
4
San Antonio.
You're saying DC, really?
just because San Antonio's not that good.
True.
Even with
like,
backups,
I don't think DC is going to try.
but the
Yes, but here's
backups
the
are
thing.
better than San
They
Antonio.
might not try, but Hines, we discussed it before. Hines Ward is a terrible coach.
I mean, yeah, but still, like, they're like, if your team doesn't want to win and doesn't care, and one team does care, it's like, you know, who wants it more? Come on, like, you know. Anyway, over to you, Gorlami.
Yeah, fuck your opinion, Lab. DC by 7.
Okay.
I'm also going to say fuck your opinion, Lob. DC by 8.
Okay, yeah, just go one up more
I was going
than
with
me.
that to begin with.
I'm surprised when
I didn't know you were
when
gonna
there's
call
game
7.
shows. When there's game shows like The Price is Right, and you have like 4 people talking about what the price of an item is, and someone gives a really good bet, it's like, oh, like, you know, $162, and the person next to me goes 163. I can still like not imagine how the guy who just said 162 is not like, you bitch, like, how dare you? One up,
Family Guy
mother-
cut away like that, where it's like what was the last
Yeah.
bid? 780, 781. Fuck you, bitch.
All right. Next up, Houston at Arlington. The similar situation. Arlington has to win to get in. Houston is already locked in the South as the number 1 seed. I'm taking Arlington by 3 in this one. I think that they want to win. Houston doesn't care, and I think Wade Phillips will probably rest his starters if he's aware of where he's at. So I think we'll be good.
I gotta have to go Arlington by 2. I'm kind of thinking similar.
Oh,
but
fuck
like...
you. 1 below. Really? By 2. Okay. We just talked about this.
That's why I did it, bitch. But no, I think because Houston's backup's probably not as good as Arlington's. It's not like DC. DC, you know they're good. Houston's been in a slump.
Gorlami?
Arlington by 3.
Yeah. You're embarrassed to admit it. I'm not. You know what? Unfuck your opinion, Lob. Arlington by 6.
Arlington by 6. And the final regular season game of this very, very entertaining and fun XFL season. Let's have a quick clap it up for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his abilities in creating a football league that was very entertaining and still could be very entertaining. We still have weeks to play, but at the same time, great job thus far. Last game of the regular season, Vegas at Seattle. I'm taking Seattle by 17.
I think you should allow steroids. It'll be more fun. Just be like him.
Seattle by, okay, not 17, 14. Seattle by 14. They're going to want to win. They're going to kill Vegas regardless of if they're in or not.
Seattle by 10.
Vipers by 2.
Oh my god, you motherfucker. I put Seattle for you. It's like, god damn.
You know what? Just for that, Seattle by 14.
All right.
Okay.
Just for that, I have to stick with my Vipers. Like, they may be out.
That will wrap up our coverage of the XFL's Week 9 wrap-up and Week 10 predictions. We are now moving on to the other minor league football league that had games this weekend. The inaugural second week of, the USFL. Interesting games, close games. Some close, some not so close. But hey, more football is not a bad thing. I would like to see stats. Hopefully, hey, does this show box score? Stars,
okay.
Showboats. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right. So first of all, we had at Simmons Bank, Liberty Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. The Memphis Showboats were at home playing the Philadelphia Stars. Stars came out with a win, 27-23, beating up on Memphis. Must hurt as the first game for your team there, Kata, if you're new Memphis Showboats bandwagon fan. So.
Yeah.
Beating up wins by 4.
I didn't even know who to go in for with this league this year, so I don't know.
I knew who I was going for.
Still a pretty close game with only by 4 points. So
yeah,
might not be the whole what's the word I'm looking for here? Narrative going forward for them.
Yeah. For the Philadelphia Stars, their quarterback, they only give us the last name, which is interesting, but we'll go with
I'm
it.
not a fan of that.
Cookus. This is his last name. 20 for 29, a 69% completion rate, 212 in yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a QBR of 124. Very good for him. And then for rushing, he also led the way, 7 for 31. Colburn the second, 5 for 30. Rowland, 2 for 22. Williams, 9 for 11 and 1 touchdown. For receiving, Gary, 7 for 77 and 1 touchdown. Coleman, 4 for 65. Rowland, 3 for 31 and 1 touchdown. Colburn the second, 2 for 14 and 1 touchdown. Wells, 1 for 10. Sewell, 1 for 9. Overton, 1 for 3. And Williams, and 1 for 3. Yeah, I don't think that's related to Penny. That's SW for Sewell, I believe.
Yeah, it's SEW. Yeah, Penny Sewell is SEW.
And then for their defense, they forced, I think these, 1 interception, and then
best passes.
I don't think they had any defensive touchdowns.
That's weird.
This is a weird way to set up your stats, USFL. Really hard to read, but
I don't mind showing the QBR. That was actually pretty cool.
QBR is nice to have. But touchdown or interceptions, they had one interception forced for them. Let's go ahead and look at the Showboats. They had 2 quarterbacks in the game. White, 16 for 29 for 182, a 55% completion rate, 6.3 average yards of passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a QBR of 82.8. And Keeley, 2 for 5, or that could be Kelly. It's Kelley. So
Kelly.
That's most likely Kelly.
Yeah. 2 for 5 for a 40% completion rate, 16 yards, 3.2 average passing, no touchdowns, no picks, a 48.8 QBR. For rushing, Collins, 14 for 63 and 1 touchdown. White, 4 for 29. Dillon, 1 for 4. Ham, 2 for 1. For receiving, Davis, 2 for 75 and 1 touchdown. McDaniel, 4 for 44 and 1 touchdown. Collins, 5 for 25. Helm, 1 for 19. Dillon, 2 for 15. Papadale, 2 for... Papale, 2 for 15. Wilson, 2 for 5. And Mitchell, nothing for nothing. And then defensively, they forced no interceptions, and then they had a total of 5 sacks. So it definitely seems like the quarterbacking for the Memphis Showboats didn't go that well. There's, I believe White might have been their starting quarterback. He only went 16 for 29 for 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. Not a great QBR. 55% completion rate is not amazing. And then Kelly also was in 2 for 5. No touchdowns, no picks. Not a great performance from them. Otherwise, the Stars, Cookus was cooking. 2 for 29 for 212 on a 124 QBR. 3 touchdowns, no picks. That's pretty good. So definitely better quarterbacking won the day for the Stars, at least what we can see from the box score.
Yeah, for the sounds of it, Cookus was a better cook than a certain Broncos quarterback last year.
Broncos country, let's rock.
Thank you.
Broncos country.
Yeah.
That's
gotta love shitting on Russell Wilson for absolutely no reason. He's probably still doing... Oh, we know.
High knee.
Yeah, high knees in a fucking airplane again. He's probably on some like Southwest flight to Cancun and fucking doing high knees next to a mother of 3. All right.
On an Air Japan flight to go meet up with Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we had in Birmingham, the Stallions were at home. They won the game 27-10 against the New Jersey Generals.
My Stallions kick some ass.
Oh yeah.
And then the shotgun to beer afterwards.
Let's start with the Generals. Perkup, 13 for 17 for 76.5 completion percentage, 148 in yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, through an 8.7 average and a QBR of 102. Also, D. Johnson.
The Rock is a quarterback?
Yeah. He was probably throwing rocks. 4 for 13 for a 30.8 completion percentage, 29 yards, a 2.2 average for an abysmal 40.2 QBR. Rushing, Victor, 8 for 89. Johnson, 7 for 45. Davis, 8 for 36. Pearsonell, 1 for 15. Perkup, 4 for 12. And Eccles Looper, 2 for nothing. For receiving, Eccles Looper, 5 for 54. Bowman, 3 for 40. Scatterfield, 3 for 35. Green, 1 for 20. Morph, 3 for 19. Pearsonell, 1 for 6. Davis, 1 for 4. Victor, none for none. And Brandon, none for none. And then for defense, they were able to force 1 interception and also had 1 sack. So not a great day. Again, also their quarterback room wasn't amazing. I mean, 13 for 17 for 148 is not a ton of attempts. They almost gave as many attempts to Johnson, who went 4 for 13. Not great. Then for the Stallions, Jay Smith, 10 for 15 for 160 yards, 66.7 completion percentage for 1 touchdown and 1 pick, had a QBR of 96.5. McGo had went 7 for 11 for 63.6 yards for 68 yards in total, a 6.2 average with 1 touchdown and no picks, a 111.2 QBR. Then on the ground, McGo 6 for 15 and 1 touchdown. Marble 9 for 24. D Davis 1 for 7. Williams 2 for 5. Jay Smith 2 for 1, and Scarborough 2 for -1. Steinberger in the air 5 for 62 and 1 touchdown receiving. Watkins 1 for 61 and 1 touchdown. Is that Sammy Watkins? That can't be.
No.
There's no way.
no.
Okay. D.
No.
Davis 2 for 27, Williams 3 for 23, Mitchell 2 for 17, Darius 1 for 14, Marble 1 for 11, Kane 1 for 8, and Scarborough 1 for 5. Their defense forced, let's see here, no interceptions and only forced 2 sacks.
Yeah, that Watkins is Austin Watkins, no relation.
Yeah. So not great by either quarterback here. Birmingham definitely had a better defensive performance, and I think New Jersey I don't know if Johnson was the starter and they benched him for Perkup, who definitely looked better, or if Johnson just came in, but Johnson did not perform well for the Generals. That was definitely the weakest link in their chain, and that caused them to break, losing the game 10-27.
That seems to be the connection I've seen between these two games, where having a quarterback tandem, no matter how long one or the other played, that seems to be the losing factor for both teams that have lost so far.
I mean, the quarterback runs a team. Running multiple quarterbacks can kind of throw off a team's dynamic sometimes.
It kind of does. I mean,
Yeah.
I can only imagine how much better the Steelers would have been last year if they stuck with either Pittsburgh or Pickett or Trubisky.
Yeah. Next up, we had the Michigan Panthers dominating the Houston Gamblers 29-13 in Memphis. Great game for my Panthers. Let's go ahead and take a look at the score. They had 3 quarterbacks, but mostly it was Love. 18 for 20, 90% completion percentage, which was great. 215 for 3 touchdowns. Had a QBR of 151 through no picks. A great game from him. Strong came in 5 for 5, 100% completion rating, 34 yards in total, 6.8 yards average, no touchdowns, no picks, a 95 QBR, and then Walker went 0 for 1. For rushing, Scott III, 12 for 61 and 1 touchdown. Corbin, 9 for 29. Love, 4 for nothing. And Sims, 1 for nothing. For receiving, Walker, 6 for 105 and 1 touchdown. Hyman, 5 for 32. Quinn, 3 for 32 and 1 touchdown. Baugh, 2 for 28 and 1 touchdown. Corbin, 4 for 19. Scott, 1 for 13. Sims, 1 for 13. And Hikunti, 1 for 7, I believe.
Hikutini.
Can I
And
get
then
that out of the bar?
Yeah.
Bartender, can I get a Hikutini?
I'm just thinking Jawas.
Jawas. I know. It sounded Jawa-ese almost. 2 interceptions forced by their defense, and I believe that is 4 sacks. So a great defensive performance for them as well, really putting pressure on the quarterback. For the Gamblers, 1 quarterback for them, Bahar, 13 for 22 for 59.1 completion percentage, 109 yards in the air, a 5-yard average, no touchdowns, 2 picks, and a QBR of an abysmal 34.1.
Sounds like he was gambling and lost it all.
Yeah, gotta know when to hold him, and he didn't do that.
Should have been told one.
Put all his chips on black, and it just so happened to land on red.
Yeah. Pledger, 16
Put it all
for 16 for 41 for 2 touchdowns. Wally, 7 for 30 on the ground. Bahar, 2 for 16. Wilson, 2 for 11. For receiving, Peterson, 2 for 23. Hall, 2 for 20. Kism, 1 for 19. Redding, 2 for 18. Ratliff Williams, 2 for 13. Pledger, 2 for 10. Barnes, 1 for 6. And Sig Jr., 1 for nothing. Defensively, they were able to force no interceptions and only 2 sacks. So, again, quarterbacking is important, especially in today's football world, as we have seen thus far. The Panthers had 2 quarterbacks with 90 and above QBRs, and the Gamblers couldn't even get above 40 with 1 quarterback. So, yeah, a much more efficient and focused offensive attack from the Panthers that torched this Gamblers defense and really put the pressure on Bahar. Again, also a good Michigan Panthers defense. Right now, way too early prediction, but Michigan Panthers definitely look like a very, very, very complete team against the Gamblers. This could be a mix of Michigan being very complete and Houston being very not complete. So we might have an Orlando Guardians situation in our hands, but again, this is week 1. So
true.
Let's not jump the gun. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Let's not jump out the plane without the parachute. So, but right now,
my favorite part.
Yeah, right now, Houston fans, it's not looking too good. Okay, we'll keep it at that. And finally, the last game of the week from our XFL and XFL USFL Intercontinental Extravaganza was a Pittsburgh team losing, which, hey, I think everybody here is happy when a Pittsburgh team loses. None of us here like the Steelers or the Pittsburgh teams, so...
I don't care about the Steelers,
I think it's just
I hate the Penguins.
Yeah,
Steelers
I don't like...
not gonna Super Bowl.
I don't like...
leave Crosby alone.
What do you have?
No.
You are a Red Wings fan. How do you like Crosby? The biggest rival the Red Wings had was the fucking Penguins for the longest
When I
time.
started out watching hockey, I watched Crosby.
Fan, yet he loves Steph Curry.
No. Okay, Detroit. The rivalry of Detroit was Chicago.
I mean, yeah,
hockey.
but those are the 3 best teams in the 2010s. Was the Chicago Blackhawks with Taves and Kane, and then you had the Red Wings who had like everybody, but they were all old.
Yeah, but
and then you go over to the young kid in Crosby in Philly. Not Philly, in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, but Crosby came in like in the mid 2000s. Plus, also Detroit and Chicago were in the Western Conference in 2014 or 2015. They put Detroit into the Eastern Conference for no fucking reason. Why the fuck did the NHL do that? Sorry,
I don't know.
That
I really
actually has me pissed off. That actually has me
The only
pissed off.
conference change that makes sense was when they did it in 2020, putting Canada all in there one thing because of COVID restrictions.
Well, yeah, that's
moving Detroit made no sense.
There's enough teams nowadays that like it should be closer to what the like NBA does, and it's literally East and West. Besides Memphis, the Grizzlies, who are originally from Vancouver, every team that's in the East is east of the Mississippi, and every team that's in the West is west of the Mississippi.
But then you look at the NFC East, and I'm like, let's see, we got New York, we got Philadelphia,
Yeah,
we got
football
Washington,
has so much history behind it that it's just screwed. Basketball,
Also, the AFC North,
you play everyone, so it doesn't really matter divisional games, and there's only 30 teams, so there's 3 divisions of 5 teams. It's not 32 yet.
Also,
Seattle needs a team. Fucking Adam Silver. Get Seattle a team. I know he won't hear this, but please.
Yeah. Well, also for NHL, what they should have done instead of moving Detroit, move Nashville to the Eastern Conference.
I mean, that makes sense, yeah. Tennessee has always been a weird state for sports teams, whether it's East or West, because in the NBA, it's West.
Yeah, they're very clearly an Eastern team, though. Which
and
right,
Nashville
but
was,
sports
and
came
Nashville's
to
a young
Tennessee so late. The Titans got there in what, 1998, 99?
96, 97.
Yeah, late 90s. The Memphis Grizzlies moved there in like the early 2000s. And then the Nashville Predators. Yeah, those are
early
new.
2000s.
The only newer teams than that I can think of are like the
Vegas
Vegas Golden Knights, the Kraken,
and Seattle Kraken.
Yeah,
Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina
Hurricanes was somewhere a little bit earlier because they
did one of the Atlanta experiments
the Whalers
rise and fall before that.
Atlanta went back to Winnipeg in like the 2010s.
They became the Jets.
Also, Gary Bateman. If you ever put a team in Atlanta again, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Stupid.
Why would you think Atlanta wants a hockey team, dude?
You're
wanted more forcing hockey down the mouths of people in Phoenix. You think it's going to work in Atlanta? Phoenix is playing in a fucking high school ass, dinky little, small, itty bitty arena, and Phil Kessel had to go there for one of his last few seasons.
Yeah, the only reason why, because they want more Southern teams, because Tampa Bay winning the Stanley Cup in 2000, Dallas Stars winning Stanley Cup in 99.
They also got to the championship, I think,
in 2000, year after.
Yeah,
the Stars also got there in 2020. Yeah. Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
Too late.
Don't remind me.
Remind him.
No,
I like the Stars too. They had one of my old buddies and Tyler Sagan on there, so
they still do. It's just him though.
Yeah.
That's right. They lost to Jersey, didn't they, in 2000? Or am I? No, Jersey was 97.
Sagan literally gets there, and Ben just goes bye,
Yeah, that
and
was
his
that
whole
was
career
the
just like.
Niedermeyer. That was the years with the Niedermeyer where Jersey won, wasn't it?
I think so.
I just like, if Texas hockey is so big, why would the team in Phoenix not be somewhere else? The Texas is huge. San Antonio, Houston, El Paso, Dallas, Arlington. There's so many cities to put
another team. Surprised me when I was in Austin last year for a gaming convention. I was down there. Not only did they have the Texas, the Overwatch esports league team down there, they also had the Stars have their own booth there. I'm like, what? Who the hell? Nobody here really follows hockey. What are they doing here?
Some of the decisions the NHL makes is just weird. I'm glad Seattle worked out, and I'm glad the Golden Knights were in such a great position.
No, here's what happened to Golden Knights. Here's what happened to Golden Knights. They were winning games. That's the big thing for expansion teams.
I mean, yeah, but also sadly the time that they moved into Vegas, it was right after the shooting had happened. It was a really great way for the natives of Vegas, not the tourists, to really be there and have something to gather around, which they loved. And now, Vegas, and then the Raiders are moving there, and now the A's are moving there, and I think it's going to get oversaturated. But at the same time, it is what it is.
Well, when you shove multiple teams down their throat within a decade, it's going to kind of make them be like, all right, do we really need that many new things all at once?
So Vegas is
used to having the Raiders here.
I mean, teams are moving out of Oakland for good reason, but I mean, still,
for sure. Oakland's becoming more and more toxic for a sports team to live in by the day.
Yeah, it's bad.
With the athletic situation, part of it's the owner doesn't even want to do anything.
A bit of the city too, because they're saying they want the new stadium, but also that new stadium's area has to have affordable housing on it. No, I think the only neighborhood I can think of that has any affordable housing near it is anywhere the East Coast, Fenway is kind of near some neighborhoods, maybe where the Yankees or Mets play in New York. But
you think there's affordable housing in New York?
I mean, no.
Maybe near Buffalo.
Oh yeah, near Buffalo, but near New York City.
No, I've been down to New York. I can tell you, I've been down to New York City recently.
Nobody wants to live in Green Bay. The only reason there's a team in Green Bay is because it was there since 1912. Okay, you're lucky that team hasn't moved to Madison or Milwaukee. Okay.
Dude, if the Packers go to Milwaukee, I will probably shoot myself.
Well, I mean, they can't because the Vikings are there, but at the same time,
Milwaukee?
Milwaukee?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, not Milwaukee, no. But moving to Madison.
The Milwaukee Vikings, everybody.
No, the Badgers are there. They wouldn't let them in.
Yeah. Anyway,
where do they play if they move to Milwaukee? Where the Brewers play?
Yeah.
Maybe they move to the UP. Maybe they build a stadium along that fucking highway that connects the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula of Michigan, just in the fucking on stilts above the water. You know that? What is that bridge called that goes between the UP?
Mackinac?
Yeah, the Mackinac Bridge. They build a stadium off the Mackinac. They say fuck it.
I think the Jets want to try and do something
and
like that.
We're the Great Lake Packers. They represent every lake.
I think
all the fishes and beavers and bears and elk and wildebeest and Sasquatches and what?
Mackinac has a C at the end of it. So when you look at it and you were to read it, you'd probably think, oh, that says Mackinac. Say it to someone from Michigan, they will kick your ass.
Yeah. I think the Jets also tried to do something like that, where there was talk about them maybe moving away from FetLife, leaving the Giants there and building their own.
Do you know that island that is part of Minnesota that is actually in Canada? That's just up. You ever seen that? If you look at a map and you go to the top of open Google Maps, you guys are all on your computers. Open Google Maps. Look at the Gorlami just
You can tell who's looking it up right now if you're not watching.
You can tell that white.
Good Lord, I thought Gorlami just got taken to the Lord above. My goodness. But if you look at a Google map and you look at Minnesota, I believe it's Minnesota, and you look north of it, there's a little tiny island just north of it. I'll find it on my phone.
I thought
they should build.
Washington.
I'm pulling it up.
No, I don't think it's in Washington.
I know there's Washington has
a
little island.
Minnesota. you look at the due north, there's this little hump in Minnesota. It's this fucking Lake of the Woods. There's a Red Lake Reservation. Just tear down the reservation, build fucking the Packers a stadium there. Red Lake Reservation. You'll get Canadian fans from fucking Winnipeg, and there are no other Canadian cities close. Holy fuck. Wow,
Where
there's
am I
nothing
looking here?
close. Look at Minnesota.
Looking.
Scroll all the way to the top of Minnesota, where there's this little hump.
Oh, okay, yeah. That
Red
weird,
Lake
like,
Reservation, yeah.
well above Red Lake, but yeah, I see what you're going for.
Yeah, that.
Beltrami Island. Huh.
I guess we don't want to talk about this game because it was probably shit.
I mean, we're going to talk about it. Anyway, back on topic. Pittsburgh Maulers fall to the New Orleans Breakers 15-22. This was in Birmingham, Alabama. Let's go ahead to the Maulers. Start with them.
Jesus Christ!
Oh, God.
Oh, good God.
Jesus, Pittsburgh. I know you guys don't have quarterbacks in the NFL or the USFL, but wow, this hurts. Morgan, 6 for 15, 40% completion percentage for 58 yards and a 3.9 average. A QBR of 51.5. Williams, 4 for 12 and 33.3 percentage, 23 yards in total, and a 1.9 average for 42.4 QBR.
So is it possible for a team to contract after one bad quarterback game?
I don't think so. I think they'll just try to look for somebody in free agency. Maybe they'll be like, hey, Agent McCarron, you lost your last game of the season.
We have a job for you.
Agent McCarron, you lost your last game of the season. You're not going to be playing in the playoffs because Seattle's a better team. Do you want to come play for Pittsburgh? Oh. Anyway, on the ground, Gary, 3 for 34. London, 6 for 20. Groschrek, 8 for 18. Williams, 1 for 7. Morgan, 1 for 5. T. Walker in the air, 3 for 42. Gaither, 3 for 25. Lynn, 4 for 14. And 0 for Hetty, 0 for London, 0 for Stokes, 0 for Gary, 0 for Nakua. Wow. Their defense forced no interceptions and forced 4 sacks. So, okay from their defense, but their offense was not great. For the Breakers, wow. I feel like this is a mesh of good Breakers football and bad Maulers football, because this is a great game by Bethel Thompson, 23 for 41 for a 56.1 completion percentage, 302 yards in total, 7.4 average, 1 touchdown, no picks, and a QBR of 87.7. On the ground, Bethel Thompson ran for 4 for 16, and Jones was the other rusher, 19 for 46. In the air, or in receiving, Stewart, 4 for 85, Adams, 5 for 70, Morris, 3 for 15, Dixon, 3 for 44, and then Jones, 6 for 29 and 1 touchdown, and Stove, 1 for 23. Their defense forced no interceptions and only 1 sack. So this was a much more offensive-minded game from the Breakers, but it worked because the Maulers couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a pebble. So, a way too early prediction again. Pittsburgh Maulers looked like the worst team in in week 1. So not good for them. They looked a lot worse than the Generals. So,
I think I got a better analogy for you for the Pittsburgh. They couldn't hit the house if they were standing in it.
Yeah. Not a great game for them. A great performance by Bethel Thompson. Again, only an 87.7 QBR. That's probably because his completion percentage was just above 50 at 56.1. But again, 302 yards with 1 touchdown is still a great performance, especially with no interceptions. But yeah.
Pittsburgh missed the toilet while they're taking a shit.
Yeah.
Sit on it.
I think
sitting in the toilet.
Taking a massive shit as an analogy for this game is not proper. This is more like Helen Keller taking a massive shit. It just misses the bowl entirely.
This is more like Greg Abbott running a 200-meter sprint.
All right. We're gonna go ahead.
To sit on the toilet. She sat on the plunger instead.
Oh,
that's a old joke.
Oh God.
Bye, K-Duff. All right, with that joke, I'll see myself out too.
Since Mamba is gone,
I didn't want to be caught on camera laughing at that.
Since Mamba is gone, this week. We're going to
Do
give
that
him.
split.
Yeah, we'll basically do the average record for everyone for XFL and for the USFL predictions. We didn't ask before. Sorry about that, Maston. Can you give us the standings for both the XFL predictions and the USFL predictions?
All right, XFL. Mamba is still first with 35-9 total. He went 6-0 this week.
What the fuck? I think he cheats.
No, he
How do you
doesn't.
cheat predicting?
Yeah. Lob
We have like
is
insider
second.
information.
Lob is second with 31-10. He went 6-0 this week. K-Duff is third, 29-8 total, 3-1.
All right, let's get Drummel. Let's get Drummel quick
podium.
before you call the last
And
two.
then me, I went 28. I'm 28-13, 3-2 this week. Gorlami, 24-13. He went 3-1 this week.
Oof.
That's XFL. Time for USFL.
Time for your trial, Plunger Gorlami.
Lob and I are tied for first at 5-0.
Let me guess, I'm in last fucking place.
And then K-Duff is you're not last place. K-Duff is 5-1 at second and third. Gorlami's 4-1. Mamba's last at 3-2.
Hey,
Alrighty.
Screw you, Mamba.
Let's go ahead and get these predictions in for week 2. To start off, we have at 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. We have Houston playing New Orleans and Birmingham. Houston looked bad last week, and New Orleans looked good. I think it's going to continue that way. I'll take New Orleans by 7.
New Orleans by 7. I
Yes.
don't know USFL.
New Orleans by 10.
shit, I was gonna say that. I'm also gonna say New Orleans by 10.
Thanks for agreeing with my genius intellect.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Next one,
You're
Memphis.
Like fueled by Miller Lite.
Yeah, Memphis Showboats didn't play. No, it was Birmingham. Okay. Memphis still played a good game, even though they lost by 4. Birmingham also played a really good game. They were against New Jersey Generals. This game is at 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, April 22nd in Birmingham. Birmingham's at home. I think that's going to be enough for them to get the win. I'll take them by 3 in this one.
Birmingham by 6.
Birmingham by 14. Fuck Memphis.
You know what? Fuck you. Memphis by 3.
Memphis by 3. Alrighty.
I gotta stick with my Stallions.
They gotta get a win somehow.
We will go to the Sunday games at 1 p.m. Eastern on NBC. We have the New Jersey Generals and Pittsburgh Maulers playing in Canton, Ohio. Both these games will be played in Canton back-to-back. Second
This
game
is
at
just a
7
disgrace
on FS1.
to the NFL Hall of Fame,
Damn.
letting
Yeah.
these two teams play in Canton.
This is gonna
New
be more
Jersey-
of a murder than
Yeah, New Jersey looked bad. The Maulers looked worse. I'm going New Jersey by 5.
New Jersey by 3.
New Jersey by 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna say New Jersey by 10, mainly because the last time we saw a massacre on the Hall of Fame Stadium field, a little team called Bishop Sycamore High was playing on it. And I think New Jersey's going to kindle FIU's talent that game that they showed and just come out with a huge win.
And next up, a pretty good game. Both of these teams coming off pretty big wins. The Michigan Panthers and Philadelphia Stars play again at Canton, Ohio on 7 p.m. right after the New Jersey-Pittsburgh game. Michigan fan through and through. I am taking Michigan in this one. A close one by 3.
Philly by 3?
I'm going to take Philly by 6.
I'm going to take Panthers by 7.
Alrighty. That will wrap up our week 1 summary and week 2 predictions of the USFL. And we have one more segment for you guys. We have the NFL draft is next week. I think we are still possibly planning, depending on our schedules, we are planning on hopefully having a prediction for this. Or no, sorry, not a prediction. A live stream of at least the first round of the draft. So only the first 32 picks. We are not. Yeah, we're not Mel Kipers. We're not going to be able to know guys. I don't know if we'll even know guys in the late part of the first round. I am not.
I definitely
It's
won't.
just a year that everyone turns into armchair draft experts. I only know Scott just been playing around with PFF.
Bryce Young is a phenomenal quarterback. If you say anything else, you're completely stupid. All right? Yeah. Okay, so I mean, yeah.
Roll Tide.
We'll go through. This is actually Mel Kiper's official mock draft right now, and this is what he is thinking every team will pick up, and we'll give what we think about each of these picks as basically our draft preview. Again, we're only going to cover the first round when we do that live stream. I don't know how we'll talk more about the details of it, and we'll try to figure out a way to actually cover the USFL and XFL in some capacity as well that week. So we'll have a lot to cover. Again, the off season is a busy time for the media, which I guess we technically are in now. Yeah, quotes. We're just 4 to 5 idiots talking about football. Anyway, let's not beat around the bush any longer. Let's look at this mock draft. So Carolina has the first pick, and they're taking a quarterback, as I think almost everyone is going to say. And people are expecting Bryce Young out of this. Again, it doesn't look like you could go wrong. Bryce Young is a little bit more accustomed to an NFL offense. He obviously had not Urban Meyer. He had Nick Saban as a head coach. Nick Saban is one of the greatest greatest football coaches of all time, period, hands down. You know, an amazing coach, runs an amazing offense.
He had a better in the NFL than Urban Meyer did.
Oh, yeah. And so Bryce Young is accustomed to bigger games. He's accustomed to bigger crowds, which you won't need in Carolina. But at the same time, I think Bryce Young is more NFL ready from a mental standpoint than CJ Stroud is. However, Bryce Young is also has the Drew Brees mentality about him. He's short, very short.
We've been seeing this a lot where size doesn't exactly matter. Like, we've been seeing the guys that are like much more undersized for their positions in recent years just completely dominating at them. Like, people were having concerns about Tyler Linderbaum last year being kind of undersized for a center, and he had an all-right year as a rookie.
But it's different with quarterbacks.
That is true, and who knows? Like, he's still obviously coming out of a dominant football powerhouse in Alabama. He's coming off a Heisman champion. He's coming off a Heisman Trophy winner year. I think he can. 2 years now, but yeah, I think he could still. I think he'll still be a reasonable. He's been consistently the consensus number one pick on everybody's board, even with people shooting up like Hendon Hooker, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I think definitely people in this draft right now are saying that's Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, and the first two picks will be one of those two, either Young Stroud or Stroud Young. So
yes, it's definitely between those two. That has not changed at all.
With Stroud, you get a bit better of an athlete, a taller guy, and has a more of a cannon of an arm, but he makes worse decisions and isn't as NFL ready. With Bryce Young, you get a guy who's been in better, bigger games, bigger stadiums, knows how to handle crowds, knows how to handle a big game, knows how to run an offense better and be better of a clock manager, but he's also shorter and he doesn't have the cannon that CJ Stroud has or the insane athleticism that CJ Stroud has.
He's also going from Nick Saban to Frank Reich as a head coach, which both are very good head coaches. So
yeah. Next, they said Houston's pick is CJ Stroud. People are talking about Houston not picking a quarterback. People are talking about Houston trading this pick. I think that's malarkey. I think Houston needs a quarterback. They've set up their offseason to be ready for a quarterback, and they should take a quarterback. Yeah. And basically, they're going to take whoever's available. If it's Bryce Young or if it's CJ Stroud, they're going to take one. Yeah, that's pretty much all we need to say there. We kind of covered everything.
Yeah, no contest there. Like, almost every mock draft I've seen has got Bryce Young first, CJ Stroud second. And then we come to third, where I've been seeing this one a lot. Will Anderson Jr., defensive end out of Alabama, going to the Cardinals. Now, out of all of the prospects currently being discussed, the one I've been seeing the most is like the most like NFL ready prospect, even disregarding quarterbacks, has been Anderson Jr. Like, good defensive end, another Alabama phenom, except on the defensive line. And the Cardinals have been needing a lot of defensive help, even more than their O-line this year. So
especially with J.J. Watt leaving, and they lost Chandler Jones last season to the Raiders. Like, they need some defensive presence on the line. So great pick.
Wants to get traded.
That's another thing. That was actually one of my notes I had for
Carolina. Might be on like the precipice of a rebuild.
Carolina.
You mean Arizona?
Or Arizona, sorry. Carolina is in a rebuild.
They're in a rebuild.
But Arizona is either in a rebuild or like teetering right now.
Well, it depends if Buda Baker gets his wish, because he either wants to be the highest paid safety or to be traded. So he's after that moolah.
The Bengals need a safety. Like, if they don't want
do.
something, if they want a first round draft pick for Buda Baker, I might take that. One first round draft pick for Buda Baker.
I mean, it makes sense. You could move back. That means you could move back because Darnell Washington, the guy out of Georgia that you're high on, is on as a tight end. Isn't
well? There's also the fucking beast out of Notre Dame, the tight end. I can't remember his name right now.
Michael Mayer.
Yeah, Michael Mayer. If we can get Michael Mayer, I am draft's done for me. You can give all 7 other picks to fucking Cleveland. Give me Michael Mayer, and I believe you that the Burrow Mayer connection will be the next Gronk Brady.
We're pulling the Ricky Williams trade. Everything for Michael Mayer.
No, not everything for Michael Mayer. But yeah, great pick for Arizona. Again, as Mel Kiper explains here, Will Anderson Jr. could have been the number 1 pick last year. Indianapolis Colts are kind of fucked. They want a quarterback, and that means they're going to be left with not Stroud and probably not Bryce Young or either of the two. They're probably going to be picked. So that means they're going to either get Anthony Richardson or they're going to get Hendon Hooker. And Hendon Hooker's coming off an ACL, so Anthony Richardson looks like the better option. However, there are some who was the MILF hunter in the league this year?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. There's some Zach Wilson claims against this guy because he didn't play that well at Florida, didn't look too good, but his name is jumping up in the combine because he's throwing dots to wide open receivers with no coverage and no pressure, and people are thinking that's amazing. Like, yes, the arm talent's great, but at the same time, if you can't throw a ball with a 300-pound lineman running at you, you're no good in the NFL.
Yeah, I was watching Clickbait Sports' podcast about their personal mock draft, and even people like Scooter Magruder were like talking about like Richardson seems like pretty raw, and like him just shooting up draft boards, just people just like giving into the hype, the same kind of hype we saw with guys like Johnny Football or Jamarcus Russell. Had like this great talent in college, but then nothing else afterwards.
Wait, the Florida Gators, this is a super fan, is bashing on Anthony Richardson. Holy shit!
Yeah,
he not bashing, but he seems
but you know what I'm saying. Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
Then Seattle. This is really what they need. They're a team that's already a playoff contender that is going to shore up their D line with Jalen Carter, defensive tackle, Georgia, an absolute beast. Backup to Jordan Davis, who already, as Maston will attest to, was a mammoth in helping the run defense. And when he was out, Maston was crying. Yeah.
You can't even deny that. If you love or hate him, like the Georgia D-line members that have been coming off in the past 2-3 years into the league, they have been monsters in the league.
It's the Chick-fil-A, bro. There's a reason Chick-fil-A started in Georgia, man. They feed them boys them chicken sandwiches by the pound.
Who the Lions going for?
That he might drop even further because of the character concerns, especially involving
the combine.
Yeah,
combine.
Rabbit Trail. If you've never had Chick-fil-A breakfast, wake up early enough to have it. It is insane.
I honestly think though Carter will get picked up at 5. Like, there's no way he slides further past this, but maybe they pass on him and
I mean, it's a defensive tackle, a nose tackle early in the draft. It's only going to be for teams who need it. And of the gaping holes in Seattle's defense, the largest and the roundest was their D line. It was horrible. The only slight bright spot was Poona Ford, who they're not bringing back because his estimated net worth or contract value now is through the roof. So this is a great pickup, but this is not going to plug that hole. They're going to need to grab a little bit more than this.
Yeah.
All right. Detroit Lions. Tyree Wilson, defensive end, Texas Tech. Yeah, the Lions need a good pass rush. Hutchinson is great. He's one guy. You really need 2 really good or 1 really good and 1 decent guy to have a good pass rush in the NFL. Hopefully, they're hoping Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech would be an option there.
I'm actually in disagreement with this pick because with the move they made recently in trading Jeff Okudah, I feel like they might try and pick up a new heir apparent to him and like Devon Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez as a cornerback.
But did they get him in later rounds, can't they?
Yeah, like, I mean, the Raiders do need defense, and especially nowadays you need good cornerbacks. But
we're talking about Detroit.
Well, Detroit, yeah, and this draft is loaded with defensive line talent. Like there's defensive ends, edge rushers, linebackers there's a plenty. So they could definitely pick up something in round 2 or 3 and still get good amount of value of it. There's going to be guys like Felix Ndike Uzama, BJ Ojulari, whose brother is a piece of the defense on the Rams right now. There's definitely plenty of ways that Detroit can go. I still think they're going to go cornerback, but going with Tyree Wilson, he's definitely a good piece. I see a team more like Atlanta taking Wilson. But
I mean, I think the Lions have a good enough secondary that they might be able to draft a secondary guy down the line. I think they want another pass rusher because Hutchinson is kind of developing into a like Clay Matthews outside linebacker style. He was D-end at Michigan, but now he's kind of developing into this like guy that always rushes a quarterback, and then all of a sudden one play he falls back into coverage and catches you madly off guard. Like he has the foot speed to do it, and so they might be wanting somebody who is a constant hand in the grass, Reggie White type of D-end that doesn't do anything but rush the QB.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then Raiders and Falcons both taking cornerbacks. The Raiders, Devon Witherspoon, and Falcons, Christian Gonzalez. Pretty good picks. The Falcons, they talk about needing someone to be alongside AJ Terrell. Love that. AJ Terrell is an amazing cornerback. Doesn't get talked enough because he's on the Falcons. And then the Raiders, they need like anyone that can cover anything. I mean, the Raiders honestly might sign a blue tarp from Home Depot to cover something in their secondary because they have no one.
This is the first mock draft I've seen that doesn't have Will Levis getting picked up at 7 here. That's.
I mean,
and it
why?
Kind of makes sense now. Well, yeah, because I was about to say it kind of makes sense now because I mean they already have Jimmy Garoppolo. They brought in 2 other backups for him.
I mean,
so
they talk about it here. Mel Kiper said, "I thought hard about Kentucky quarterback Will Levis, but the reality is the Raiders believe they have the roster complete for the AFC West this season. That's why they signed Jimmy Garoppolo. If they need a defender to help them in 2023, it's Witherspoon, who could immediately become their top guy." I mean,
which makes sense. Like
an XFL cornerback could be their top guy right now.
Between Witherspoon and Gonzalez, both have been jockeying for like position of best cornerback in the draft. So I feel like they could pick either. It just depends on their scheme fit. And it would work out well for them.
The only issue I could see is, and again, I'm a Big Ten fan, and this is apparent as well, the speed of the SEC is definitely still similar to the Big Ten, but also like the skill positions at wide receiver and slot receiver and running back are just seem so much faster in the SEC. I don't know if that's a layman's view from my term or just like something that I'm not seeing right, but at the same time, Devon Witherspoon's from Illinois and Christian Gonzalez is from Oregon. That is a Big Ten and a Pac-12 school. Could they immediately translate and be fine? I don't know. A lot of Big Ten schools produce guys that immediately go into the NFL and are fine. Those are usually linebackers, tight ends, and offensive linemen. SEC schools, they will throw a quarterback, a corner, a D lineman, and they will be in a wide receiver, and they'll be immediately ready to go in the NFL. So there might be some adjustment periods. I'm worried that Devon Witherspoon might have an issue catching up to the NFL speed of the game. I could be wrong. I'm not saying this is set in stone. I'm saying that a lot of times when I've seen skill players that are in fast positions come out of the Big Ten, they are not as fast in the NFL because the Big Ten is an old school style of football. If you watch any Michigan games, they were running the ball 50 times a game. So I don't know.
Yes.
That's why I watch the Big Ten, because I like running the ball, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, run the damn ball.
No matter which one you pick, you got to remember the Raiders have not exactly had a head coach in the past few years that has been a great evaluator of talent. And this is coming from a guy that actually cheered on Josh McDaniels as a OC.
I mean, I still don't think they have a good gauge of talent because they're just picking up sloppy seconds from the Patriots.
Yeah, getting the Patriots alive just because we were good at one point is not going to. Not exactly
Bears.
Onto the Bears. A offensive guard from Northwestern, Peter Skronsky, the best offensive lineman in this draft by a fucking mile.
Very true. Very true.
I have no problems with this pick. You need to protect Jalen Hurts and this guy. If he's not ready to go,
or
Justin Fields? Not Hurts. Fields. Justin Fields. If this guy's not ready to go in the NFL, I don't know what's real. Great pick.
Shit, I was gonna say something else, but I lost it.
And
I'm looking at the one below that.
If you see any film of Peter Skoronsky, it's fucking insane. The guy is a fucking mammoth.
Sorry, I was more reacting to this thing that was below it. Bijan
Also,
Robinson,
fuck McShay.
running back out of Texas for the Eagles.
Why? You want to see happens here? Howie Roseman trades his pick. That's a Roseman thing to do.
Because you still got the 30th overall, not 31st.
Yeah.
I mean, you could trade both your first round picks and pick up a good player that you would need. I definitely think a middle linebacker is something that the Eagles need. I think
another defensive end.
Also,
both good pass rushers have been taken already, and there are more, but at the same time,
you also still need like guard help. You need some D-line help.
Yep.
So, and also, isn't drafting a running back this high in the first round considered a cardinal sin?
Yeah.
So,
especially Robinson out of Texas, who didn't really look like a top 10 pick.
Right, he's more projected late first round.
I think it's just McShay being a fucking dumbass.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Who in the hell is Todd McShay anyway?
Yeah. Tennessee Titans, they said Will Levis, quarterback out of Kentucky, they need a quarterback. They're this late in the draft. Yeah. Not a good place for them to be.
Not what I thought they'd go for.
I mean, that is them taking another chance on a so-so quarterback because they took one on Malik Willis, and oh boy, that was hot shit. And I don't think
it's also only been 1 year of Malik Willis, and they're already.
We might be talking about
receivers.
Yeah, we might be talking about. Well, even then, though, I think we might be talking about Malik Willis in the XFL or USFL in 2-3 years.
That is a possibility, but at the same time, like you're saying he's a bust on a team that has no receivers and a quickly deteriorating Derrick Henry.
I mean, last year they had Robert Woods, and they still had Derrick Henry, and they still had a decent O-line. Like, they had stuff to go with. And
why not
Willis looked horrible.
Well, why not roll Malik Willis to see if they can develop him with a new wide receiver? Like, give him, like, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Give him Quentin Johnston. Give him something like that to work with. Don't just put him in, like, 3 games and be like, you suck. Get out of here. That just seems wrong. I mean.
Maybe.
Speaking of Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, Houston, Texas at 12. McShay's pick was Jackson Smith and Jigba. If they take a quarterback in the first, might as well build a good talent around him. Jackson Smith and Jigba was the second best player on that offense for Ohio State. The best one being Marvin Harrison Jr., who is going to be the first pick next year, 100%. I don't care who's first. It's going to be him. He's generationally good.
Sticking him with his college QB and Stroud, too. That should work pretty well. I mean,
yeah,
we've already seen
Stroud to Smith and Jigba will be effective in Houston. I mean,
we've already seen what a team can do with that, like Burrow and Chase. It's like,
Burrow,
1 year apart from each other. They're both those guys in the same year. It's going to be like nothing.
And then Hurts and Smith.
That's true.
Hey, just wait till it's Burrow and Jefferson, baby. Justin Jefferson's coming to Cincinnati. I'm telling you. Chase, Higgins.
You gotta have the money. You got the money for Jefferson.
Shut up. New York Jets offensive tackle Broderick Jones. I mean, if they end up getting everybody who they say they're going to get in free agency, which they can't because Odell already signed with the Ravens, they definitely need more protection around Rodgers if they're going to get Rodgers. But I don't know.
Yeah, we're still waiting.
So I mean,
torturing Orlami with it.
They're getting Broderick Jones out of offensive tackle out of Georgia. There's also Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State, which is going to the next pick at 14 to the Patriots. I think both of these are good offensive tackles, but watching Paris Johnson Jr., man, especially in that Ohio State-Michigan game, he is so fucking top-heavy. It's a little concerning.
Yeah, I'm not contesting either Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson Jr.'s talent, but for the Patriots, I see them going in a much different direction than what's being projected, and bear with me on this. There's another wide receiver that might be going later round, maybe early second round, by the name of Zay Flowers out of Boston College. And they've been doing a lot of work with him. Belichick trained him, coached him at the Senior Bowl. We've already been moved out people like Jacoby Myers and Nelson Aguilar, so it makes sense that we pick up a wide receiver sometime this draft.
Boston College wide receiver.
Yeah, it sounds weird.
Wow.
I
But
thought
for some
he was
reason, Belichick's high on
good.
the guy. He's also already had a visit with the Patriots this past week. So does that mean that they're going to take him at 14? Possibly, but it also is very possible that Belichick goes with either one of those two offensive tackles.
Yeah.
Or goes a completely different direction, goes quarterback, and gets us like Joey Porter Jr. or
Zay
something.
Flowers is expected to go, at least by Mel Kiper's
Pittsburgh.
prediction, 17 to Pittsburgh. So,
Yeah. My thing about Pittsburgh, they're going to go something else with that, but we'll get to them when we get down to 17.
Green Bay's expected pick
I'm
is
out.
Dalton Kincaid, tight end, Utah.
The one time they actually go for a passing option and Aaron Rodgers isn't on the team anymore.
It's a tight end.
Yeah, it's a tight end.
Oh
I think they
my
need
God.
receivers more because who's their top receiver now? Who's Green Bay's top receiver?
Wasn't it a rookie
Lazard's
last year?
gone.
Oh, Christian Watson and
Watson,
Dobbs,
yeah.
Romeo Dobbs. So
Done.
they're both like
He's done with this shirt.
He's
they're
gone.
both I mean, they could be better. Christian Watson struggled early, but did good late, and then Dobbs did good early and struggled late. So they could be streaky rookies. I don't know.
Honestly, every time I did a mock draft, every time I got to Green Bay, I didn't know what to give them because they need a lot. Like they need pass help, they need D-line help, they need a safety. They need a little bit of O-line help. They need a quarterback, obviously, because I don't. Even though they said,
no, I don't think they need a quarterback.
Julian
They
Love.
have Jordan Love, and they're going to stick
Jordan
with Jordan Love. They're going to give him a season, is what they've said. So they don't need a quarterback yet. So
they've also been talking with, I think it was a quarterback out of Pitt. I don't know if he's in the draft this year, but
I need fucking therapy.
Yeah.
The Washington Commanders selecting Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from Tennessee. Pretty good pickup for them. Their offensive line was not great. And they like to run the ball, so more O-line for them is definitely helpful. Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they're swapping this one because they just also picked up Allen Robinson, who's another wide receiver. And not that you can't have more wide receivers, but like them picking up Zay Flowers could be good, but at the same time, I could.
Why
really
would you
see
when you
them,
have Robinson?
I could see them going for another defensive lineman option and to probably help out Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt because I don't know how much longer Hayward has, and then when Hayward goes, then it's TJ Watt's on the clock for when he's going to leave or retire.
My thought on
and TJ Watt not hurt.
I have a
They're
thought
running
on
out of spare parts to put on TJ Watt. His brother doesn't have much left in him.
Yeah, my thought on this is that the Steelers, there's another guy in this draft. He's a quarterback out of Penn State by the name of Joey Porter Jr. And it just sounds like a very Pittsburgh Steelers move to pick up a legacy hire in him. Joey Porter, obviously another former player and coach for the Steelers.
What position is Porter Jr.?
Porter Jr. is a cornerback.
Okay.
Which, I mean, they kind of addressed that earlier this year with Pat Pete. But I feel like that'd be, with him like kind of being on the later side of his career, I feel like it's a good idea to pick him up for like the future. That's just me though, but I'm just saying it seems like a very Steelers move to go for a the son of a guy who used to play for you.
Yeah.
Watch it like 20 years when they pick up like Roethlisberger Jr. or something. Whichever one of his 52 kids decides to play for the
NFL. Detroit Lions, Kalijah Caincy, defensive tackle from Pittsburgh.
And with the
again,
D-line choices here.
Yeah, they're really trying to shore up that D-line because besides Aiden Hutchinson, it wasn't great last year, and their secondary is okay. Their middle linebacker core is solid, and their offense tends to look okay. I could see them picking up a tight end, but at the same time, they're all right.
Behind Carter, Cansey is probably one of the better defensive tackles available in the first round of this draft. So
yeah. Tampa Bay needs a lot. They decided to pick up Lucas Van Ness, defensive end from Iowa. I think that's a pretty good pick for them. They need some more pass rushing to help Vita Vea out after like all the retirement home left in Pierre Paul and Ndamukong Suh. Like they need some good pass rushing. Even when Carl Nassib is now no longer on. Is he still on the Bucs or is he?
I think he is. Let me see.
I don't know if they re-signed him or not. I can't remember.
He's still currently on the Buccaneers. It doesn't say anything about him going anywhere else yet.
Yeah, so maybe him and Van Ness could be a good 1-2 combo at defensive ends. But yeah,
The Iowa defense was insane last year.
it was very
Speaking
good.
speaking of insane defenses, Seattle Seahawks going again to Georgia, picking up outside linebacker. Why did I say offensive?
Yeah.
Nolan Smith.
This will probably be a rushing linebacker as well, because again, they need more D-line presence.
Yeah, they also another team that needs an edge rusher, and that definitely
solid pick.
Definitely also a good pickup to pick him and his teammate in Jalen Carter here. So that would be a great move to upgrade their D-line with those two.
Yep. Then for the Chargers, they're suggesting Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC. He was he was Caleb Williams' favorite target. Again, it was a USC wide receiver, and he had a streaky season, and his games were good and bad and in between. So maybe he could stay in LA. I don't know how well he'll turn out. But
the Chargers do not need a receiver.
That's the thing. They need more defense.
Yeah, I'd say they need a quarterback, if anything. Like maybe.
Well, they need healthy receivers, though. Keenan Allen. Remember, Keenan Allen almost died a couple times after injuries.
Yeah.
Well, they need a new coach.
Good, but he's very injury prone.
And honestly, some really good linemen for Justin Herbert could be helpful as well, because I don't think he's ever had like a really, really solid O-line. He's had good O-lines, but he's never had like a on paper current Bengals or Philly or classic Tom Brady rock solid, this shit ain't moving O-line.
Well, they picked up Brian Johnson in the draft last year, but that's still a bit early to tell if he's going to be good or not.
Yeah, I don't know. They can take Jonah Williams off our hands, that fucker. He's the day we picked up Orlando Brown, he's like, I don't want to be in the stripes anymore. I'm like, okay, cool, bye, leave. Bye. Don't let the door fucking smack your head on the way out. Oh my God. Baltimore Ravens picking Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback, Mississippi State. Yeah, their secondary needs some help.
They need it.
Yeah, Humphrey out there is kind of alone. So I think definitely getting another defensive back up there would really help out their defense. Ravens kind of struggled since Purple Rain left. So
Ravens are another team I could see going on multiple different ways with this. Forbes is a good pick. I could also see them going with a piece like Miles Murphy out of Clemson, edge rusher. Maybe they go with Joey Porter Jr. if he falls to them. Maybe even there's a safety out of Alabama. I'm blanking on his name. Brian Branch. That I think they could do to upgrade that secondary a bit.
Minnesota, Joey Porter Jr., another cornerback out of Penn State. They need to replace Patrick Peterson after he left, so they need some options secondary wise. So I think this is a good pick.
And also, half their cornerbacks are on their way to the senior living center.
This could be another issue with skill positions coming from the Big Ten. It could be a little rough. It could be fine. It depends on the player. Again, Aiden Hutchinson transitioned fine. We'll see. This hurts. Michael Mayer, tight end.
Michael Myers.
Yeah, out of Jacksonville going to, out of Notre Dame going to Jacksonville. I don't understand that though, because they still have Evan Ingram. Like, most teams don't go two tight ends deep, and even when they did, that didn't really work out. E.g.,
maybe they might try to adopt that thing. Like we've seen the Patriots, the two tight end system does work for some.
It didn't really work. It was Hunter Henry wasn't getting enough time, and neither was who's the other one?
John Smith.
Neither of them got enough time to be effective. Usually teams will have one tight end and they will bring in a small O lineman. So Mayer is too good to be a small O lineman. This guy is a fucking tank. He's an animal. I don't think that's the right pick for Jacksonville, because they just signed Evan Ingram. He's going to play into the franchise tag. There hasn't been any, claims that he won't.
They could go guard or safety instead, but if Mayer is still available to them by then,
Jacksonville needs defense though. I don't understand it. Their offense looks pretty good. Sheriff really secured that O-line for them. Their backfield looks great. Their quarterback looks good. Their receivers are looking great. Evan Ingram's a great option at tight end. Their defense is just like Josh Allen, and there's no one. So you need something there, a rusher, more corners, a safety, Come on
Their
now.
defense can
And
make
he
Kirk
just lost
Cousins look
Arden
good
Key
on
to a
prime
division
time.
rival too. That's another thing.
Yeah. I mean, they also are in a division where the quarterback talent is kind of bad. You know,
Might be getting better.
the Colts
depending on
are
what
going to
Colts
get
and
Will
Texans do.
Levis, maybe. The Texans are going to get a pretty good rookie quarterback, but again, it's a rookie quarterback. And the Titans have Ryan Tannehill. So, yes, your
No,
cornerback
not
room doesn't have to be insane, but some good quarterbacks would have helped against Patrick Mahomes when you nearly beat him in the divisional round. So, next up is the New York Giants, Deontay Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. I remember watching him, another Big Ten cornerback. Maryland doesn't really produce many players. But when they do, they jump off the page at you. He was flying around the field when Michigan played Maryland. I remember watching him, thinking that's a great player. I was actually at that game when they played Maryland. They played him in Michigan. So I was at the game, and I remember watching this Banks guy just fly around the field. So he's an amazing speed, but also at the same time he got just confused on a couple plays, I think. So there's definitely room for improvement, but definitely a very good raw prospect.
Yeah, I can see them taking a cornerback there. Or if Banks falls to them and doesn't go to another team that chooses him instead, like the Vikings or Chargers, even I could see them pulling the trigger on that.
Dallas Cowboys, Quentin Johnson, wide receiver out of TCU.
This one's
They
a bit
do
of a
need some
fall.
receivers, but
Yeah, this was a bit of a
Skip-
fall.
just
Like
skip
Johnson
Dallas,
at one point
please.
was like expected to be like
Moving
a top 10
on.
pick at one point or another.
Was this?
No,
was
no, I
this,
mean-
was this
I
their
mean, like the
best?
draft.
Moving on.
Was this the receiver that was really tall, had like dreadlocks?
Yep, yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he was good. I remember, again, I don't like to mention it, but the Michigan TCU game, he was good.
There's been arguments being made that he could be like the first wide receiver on the board. But with
Maybe. I mean, Smith Najigba is amazing, though.
Yeah. Also, it turns out I forgot about this. I was watching one of the earlier Red Sox games this year, and you can start Yannick if you want. He's got a brother on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Jigba. Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we saw if y'all are still them boys, pick 27. Fuck the Cowboys.
Buffalo Bills interior
Fuck the
linebacker
Cowboys.
Trenton Simpson out of
Going
Clemson.
linebacker, interesting.
You already have Matt Milano, and
Yeah,
but you did
Matt
lose.
Milano.
You did, as I said, you did lose Tremaine Edmonds.
But they also just re-signed AJ Klein as well, so
Odd. I would definitely think. I was thinking this pick was going to be the running back out of Texas.
Bijan Robinson. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking that either him or he goes to either the Bills or the Cowboys, but this is a weird pick for me.
I don't agree with this one, Mel Kiper. Sorry about it.
Yeah, I don't see the move reason.
I feel like sometimes NFL draft analysts try to make like a big move and say, this guy's going to go here. This is my crazy prediction. Sometimes you don't need crazy predictions. Sometimes you need to predict what you think is going to happen and what should happen.
The thing is, I don't think that's a crazy pick because it's not like.
I mean, Trayvon Simpson is great. They did lose Tremaine Edmonds, and I mean, having more good linebackers is not a bad thing. But I feel like they have bigger holes elsewhere that need filled a little bit more urgently than a backup interior linebacker in the first round. You know.
Yeah. What do you think about this one though? If you don't go for Michael Mayer, like the Bengals are going to go for Julius Brents, cornerback out of Kansas State. Well, you do need a cornerback.
We need a tight end, first of all.
You do need
That's what we need.
You need a tight end. You also do need kind of need a cornerback. Your secondary lost a few pieces this offseason.
So I mean, if a good cornerback's up there, sure. And I mean, Brent's is amazing, as this tape does show. This is like a 36-second clip.
Let's get a little look at this.
Yeah, he's up there. Okay,
Right,
playing
so
the deep set. Turn.
Immediately batted down. Not bad. All right, now we got him up close against Baylor here.
Ball's going.
Kind of pans away, but
goes up.
Nice.
Seemed kind of overthrown, but good
It
coverage.
was a little bit overthrown.
Underball. Boom.
Oh man.
A lot of the short passes stops that. Oh, that's against Quentin.
Well, this is him against Johnston too.
Yeah, Johnston.
He beat him out.
There you go.
Not bad.
Good coverage. Yeah. He's also. How tall is he?
Uh-oh.
Good
question.
6'2".
6'2".
Basically
God
6'3",
damn.
6'2" and 3/4. So that's
Yeah.
that's
Pretty
pretty
good
tall.
size for
Yeah,
him.
that's a good size. That's tall enough to probably cover some tight ends.
You're
Oh,
going
we're
way
way
too
down.
far.
Holy crap. We dipped out in the second
Round
Not
round.
the
two.
second round.
Yeah.
It's New Orleans next.
Saints, here we go.
Yeah. So next, defensive tackle out of Clemson, Brian Brees goes to New Orleans at 29. Yeah,
A lot
I mean,
of
New
holes to
Orleans
fill
needs
in New
New
Orleans.
Orleans needs some holes to fill, but also they lost Marcus Davenport, so they need
True.
some pass rush and run stop. And Davenport was a great run stopper at defensive end, one of the best
Mhm.
ends to stop the rush. So yeah.
And
Then
speaking of
Philadelphia
that-
Eagles defensive end Miles Murphy. That's a pretty good pickup for them, especially
Also
30th
Clemson boy.
overall. Yep. And then finally the
I don't
Kansas City
know what they're
Chiefs
gonna do.
at pick. Shouldn't there be 32 picks?
Because
There
Dolphins
should be.
lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Dolphins were doing a no. That's why. All right.
Dolphins were supposed to get like the 20th overall, but that's the one that got struck.
Will McDonald IV out of Iowa State, outside linebacker.
Speaking of Iowa State, I printed some Iowa State blankets today.
Interesting. So yeah, that's a pretty good pick for them, honestly. They do need
Yeah.
some better linebacking core.
They need linebacker help.
Yeah.
Yes, they did pick up Karlaftis last year, but what you mentioned. But he looking at his skill set, McDonald definitely fills the needs that Karlaftis doesn't have. So it makes sense.
That again, we're only going to cover the first round. We're not as inclined as many other college sports fans are, but we'll definitely take a look at that. Stay tuned for next week and the coverage of the draft. We will be trying to stream it live. I don't know if we're going to get in trouble if we actually stream the draft and just have it behind us.
Just show
what we
the
could
picks
do is
happen.
just like have the stream like not being shown.
Right.
Just have like the audio
I think
come in.
I think the Pat
picks are being
McAfee
made.
show did that before they had the NFL exclusive deal, so they could they were just watching it and they would say, with the first pick, the Arizona Cardinals select, whatever.
What if we had it muted up until Goodell goes to the podium each time?
Even then, we can just say who got picked, and we'll have it up on a board or a screen or something. So yeah,
that also would work. Yeah.
I might be able to
It's
stream.
whiteboard.
I could put it on my computer and then stream the only section of it that just shows the pick.
That's a possibility.
We could do that, and I could turn it off and on when there's commercials. Interesting. But yeah, anyway, thank you for tuning into this episode of the Football Stooges. We'll be at you next week with a live stream of the draft, as well as our recap and predictions for the final week of the XFL into the championship week, which is their division championships. And then we'll also talk about USFL week 2 into week 3. So a lot of football going on. You got, down to the wire XFL action, early season USFL action, and the draft, not to mention playoff hockey, playoff football, and baseball. Sorry. So
Don't forget about NASCAR. Oh, that's no one you guys. See you later.
Hey, look! I found a endangered species. Hey, look! I found a endangered species.
Oh my god!
Oh wait, now there's 2 of them.
Are they gonna procreate?
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So
I think we're overdoing it.
For myself, for Mamba, who's in Coachella, for Macedon, for K-Duff, and for the resident sad boy Packers fan, still waiting for that pick to come through. Gorlami. Yeah. I would like to say thank you for watching the Football Stooges. Make sure to follow us wherever you find us. Leave us a question. Oh, are there any questions from last? Oh, but no, Mamba didn't post last week's video.
Yeah, we didn't post
Coachella. Mamba.
Fuck you, Coachella.
Yeah, fuck you, Coachella. Anyway, but again, for Macedon, for K-Duff, for Gorlami, and for myself, thank you for watching the Football Stooges. Thank you for listening. Please make sure to leave a like and comment any questions you have. We'll make sure to answer them as best we can. Enjoy the draft, enjoy the USFL, enjoy the XFL, and most importantly, run the damn ball. Have a good night.
And gang.